The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Ooh, sober dudes
Well, hello.
on Trudging Thursday. Hey, Tyler. I see you.
Hey, well, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for having me, and welcome everyone.
Yeah. It can sound a little weird at first because we don't really have any. We don't have anything that we really do in the beginning. So it's just like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? How's your week been, man?
It's been really good. Little perspective change when it comes to some people that I've, been expecting to act differently than they are.
That is fair.
Yeah, and that's really helped my, daily emotional well-being.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. And that kind of just leads into kind of what we're talking about today, which is meeting others where they are at. Got Michelle here. Michelle, good to see you.
Hey, welcome, Michelle.
Yeah, I think when I have two people here, I'm going to start doing some other things like true or false, weird history kind of stuff or whatever. Throw a little segment in here to kind of stir things up a little bit. Let's see if we can pull it off. Give me some true or false recovery history. Well, here, this is what they get. Myth, recovery is a new concept that only started with modern rehab. Okay, it's not what I was looking for. Yeah, I don't think we're going to find what we're looking for without a little bit of digging. So we gave it the college try. What is up, Miss Amber? She is here.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo. Did you ever own a yo-yo?
There's one in my Amazon cart right now.
Is there? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Let me
They
guess,
stopped
like
making the one I
Teenage
wanted.
Mutant Ninja Turtles or Pokemon or.
Oh yeah, I think I have at least one yo-yo reachable. This one's really, really old though, and it's like Pinocchio.
I wanted to be a Pinocchio yo-yo.
Yeah. I think that
won't be hard to do.
It's Italian.
It's Italian. Huh. Yeah. Well, Geppetto was Italian. I mean, Pinocchio is Italian. So, right. Yeah. Did it? Growing up, did you guys have those people that came in, those yo-yo people, and they'd be throwing them everywhere?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I was in 6th grade when they came.
6th grade. I don't remember how old I was. Amber says Santa brought Isaac one for Xmas last year, and that is fucking sick, Tyler. All right.
Yeah, some relatives went to Italy, and that was a souvenir that they brought me back.
So as a souvenir. Amber says when you die, you can will that to her. That's her nice way of saying you're old.
Oh, and you have the stacking cups, guys. Yeah, I am getting old. I'll be 40 this year.
Oh no, not 40.
I'm gaining experience. That's what I'm doing.
40 seems like 15 years ago. All right. It's because it was. My wife and I have been together 15 years. In March, it'll be 16 years. So March 16th is our anniversary date. People are probably surprised I'm a male that remembers my anniversary date. My original sobriety date was March 16th, and that's why we did that. We got married on the day of my original sobriety date. We were We were actually a boyfriend and girlfriend the first time I got sober. So it was a date that I could remember. So, yeah. Amber says dirty 40. Okay.
No, it's 30-30.
Is it dirty 30?
And then
So
Lordy,
it
Lordy,
rhymes
you're
better.
40.
Welcome to Two Sober Dudes. My name's Dion. Tyler is with me today. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. We would like that. We'd like to know that you care. Yeah. All right, let's get to it. Meeting others where they're at. You came up with this topic because I said you got a topic. You came back with it pretty quick, so I got a feeling you got something to say on it, my brother.
I just happen to have my phone in my hand, and I've been thinking about growth and how I want to continue growing and getting better as a person
Sure.
and better at working my program more often throughout the day. And I thought about where I was a few years ago compared to where I'm at now, and how working with me then was probably a little bit different than working with me now,
Mm,
or even just knowing me then versus now, and how um, when I'm working with others, I have to figure out where they're at and then
mm,
try and stretch, right? You can get a rubber band pretty big if you do it slowly, but if you
sure.
try and just rip a rubber band like that, it's going to snap. And so I have to really remember that it's not about getting somebody to this point right now or
Mm,
helping somebody get there. And for me, that was causing some discontent, because I'm like, why aren't why isn't everybody just doing things this way? And I have to understand that that's not going to happen. And even if I want to help somebody get to a point like that, it's
mm-hmm.
not an overnight process.
Mm. Now, and I'd like to qualify real quick for anybody kind of listen out, but I think people probably already know now. Meeting others where they are at doesn't necessarily mean I'm above somebody or better than. I think the best way to say it is I'm a little less naive. Um, the difference is we have a solution to the problem. As a recovered alcoholic, I have a solution to a problem. I think when we meet people where they're at, we give them the chance to to maybe sober up quicker, sooner. Not maybe not quicker, but sooner, right? If we can help somebody avoid that last 10, 15 years of literal hell, then we can try and help them get to that point, right? Um, so it doesn't mean that somebody is lower or bigger. There's no greater than signs or lesser than signs in AA. In fact, when I'm working with somebody, even if I'm meeting them where they are at, I get something out of it. So it's not like I'm on the losing side of a stick here or something. Um, but yeah. Sorry, my brain has not quite caught up with everything yet. So, but let's see here.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
go ahead.
Um, well, I just had to remember how much encouragement I needed and still need, but I have to remind myself that when somebody's making progress, I need to encourage that, and make sure that they feel like doing that again, right? Or doing that more.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the behavior or whatever it was, the more I celebrate that progress, the more they're going to want to do that again.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I think, and in the beginning, it's going to be, well, I would recommend that if you're going to 12 step or something like that, you're in early recovery, that you go with somebody who is 12th step before, because I know, at least for me, I got in the program, I was a little newer, and suddenly I was seeing all these solutions and I wanted to shout them from the rooftops. I became a professional fixer, right? And meeting others where I was at started to turn into codependency. So I kind of need to watch that too, because what they say in the big book, you can't transmit something you don't have.
Mm.
So uh, now I'm going to use Amber's stuff from this. If you are a week, let's say you're just a week or two into the program, you know how to get to a meeting. You know how to look up meetings. You know where to get a big book. You know how to get a sponsor. There are plenty of things that you can do. Okay? You can take those two weeks of experience and go over and help somebody. Um, do you remember when it happened to you? When you came into the program and people took their time to meet you where you were at?
Absolutely. Yeah. I found a meeting that I really liked, and I went to it pretty much every day until I found a job. And
Mhm,
uh, I was going to a big book study with you and Amber actually, and
mhm.
it was like, hey, why aren't you working with a sponsor? Well, okay, I'm your sponsor then, right? Like,
I'm kinda pushy.
why wasn't I asking? Why had I been just white knuckling it for 30 days? And that was a good question. I didn't have an answer to, and you helped me figure things out.
Well, you shouldn't have had to have an answer to that. I'm the one that had the answer to that. So therefore, at least for me, when I see somebody else struggling and I have an answer, well, I want the hand of AA to be there. For that, I am responsible. We don't just let other people take care of that. Um, what are some of the things that happened for you when somebody met you where you were at? What are some kind of the emotions and feelings that you had when you met?
I hope was one the first thing that
Yeah,
comes to mind. For the first time in a long time, hope.
it was. It's nice, huh? That
Hmm.
loneliness disappears a little bit. Um, it's weird because even though I knew I was not terminally unique, when I'm drinking, I think I'm terminally unique. Even though I have all this proof and I did all these things, I still go back to that. And um, yeah, in the beginning, that was kind of tough because um, well, it was weird. It felt weird, right? That people were putting time into me and I didn't think I was worth the time. That's why I say often that you are worth any amount of time somebody or you is willing to put into you.
That's a
And
really good point. I know I personally struggle with self-worth. Um, and whether it be here or, other areas of my life, I definitely internally felt, carried a lot of guilt when I let my mentor down, or I wanted to prove that I was worth the time they were investing in me, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it was nice that number one, somebody thought enough to come over and say, "Hey, Dion, I've been watching you for the last couple of years. You need God in your life, and I'm going to be your sponsor." I needed somebody to do that because I was hearing something else, but I'm not going to get into that part. Um, and somebody I respected, and suddenly they were willing to give up their time to hang out with me, which I just found odd because nobody wanted to be around. I didn't even want to be around with me, and it was part of the process of letting other people love me, which was really hard for me to do. Um, I almost had to fake that. Um, but after a while, I mean, it's hard to go to an AA meeting and everybody surrounding you and saying, "We know how you feel, we know what it's like," and not feel loved.
Yeah, you asked how I felt when that happened, and I said hope. But looking back, I really feel that that was one of my first spiritual experiences. That feeling of hope came with a physical sensation, right?
Hmm.
And that I didn't know it at the time, but that was one of the first uh, you know, s- spiritual events that I had.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was, I was finally sitting down and having a real conversation about things that actually mattered. Um, because for me, I have always felt so set apart. Sometimes I feel that way in AA. But that has more to do with just my stinking thinking than in nobody's treating me bad, nobody's driving me out, anything like that. Nobody's doing anything. But my brain tends to go there thinking, well, Dion, are you really a part of? Are you the, and just that old behavior sometimes will come back and that's a great time to go help somebody else out. Um, but sitting down and having an actual conversation about the truth with somebody who understood. I can go into an AA room, right? Well, Tyler and I had a conversation just right before this. And Tyler was asking Dion, is your depression from something or is it just happening? Right. And we had a little conversation before, right? And what does that do? Well, it makes the other person feel they are a part of, that they are worth time. And you told me, I love you, brother. I got your back. Right. And that is the language of the heart. Then, he's like, well, we need, because we took a few more minutes knowing we might get in trouble with some of the listeners, to make sure that Dion was okay. And so what did you do? You took 2 minutes out of your time to make sure I was okay. And that definitely has an impact. It very much has an impact. And I don't think we even realize how much of an impact that we actually have sometimes until we see the results of what goes on with this person. So here's a good one. Can't be because I'm like Mr. Rushy Rush sometimes, well, I've got a plan in my head and I'm gonna do this, this, this. And so I go to Starbucks and I grab my coffee. I'm going to get my two sugars and my I prefer milk for my coffee, but somebody's in front of me. Right. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, like they're in my way or something. And I always tell them, take your time. You were here first. Take your time. You go for it. Even in areas like that, I try and hold space any given moment that I can. If I see an opportunity to hold space for somebody, whether they're in a bad mood, good mood, or whatever, I try and do it because people have done that for me. And it passes it on.
That's a really good point. That's something I've recently I struggle. No, 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 you go. No, you go. I got to remember that when somebody offers that to me, I need to be willing to accept that. If somebody's telling me to go ahead and take my time, go in front of them, it's okay for me to be like, okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Maybe that's their way of being of service. Who am I to deny that?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and maybe another way to hold space is maybe somebody is trying to do something nice for you and you're not quite allowing them to do that. And they're just trying to do something kind for you. Um, allowing that to happen, even though it's not going to happen the way that you want it in the time that you want it, right?
Yes.
That that is also holding space.
Man, it's
Um,
hard sometimes when you want particular help and you get different help.
no, I wanted help this way. I don't know how to
Exactly.
help you that way. Michelle says, I didn't understand holding space meant, what holding space meant. All right. Do you understand a little bit better now, Michelle? We can go over it a little bit more if you like. Uh, holding space is just taking time and being in the moment. When you're talking to somebody, like let's say you're talking to somebody and they're telling you what's going on and your phone dings and you're over here picking up, yeah, that's not holding space. That's just being there. Right? Now, gotta put this away. Okay, put it on do not disturb. Or even if it dings, just let it sit there. Right? Ding, their phone went off, but they didn't oh, awesome. You know,
Um, yeah, right.
that's
It's
a
it's
different
kind of
time.
like our burning desire time.
Hmm. Yeah. Now, um, AA is probably the epitome. of meeting people where they are at. It is constantly said in the big book, when we make the approach, when we go to talk to the newcomer, when we do this and when we do that. I'm trying to think of the place either in the 12 by 12 or the big book that kind of talks about that. It'll probably kind of pop up to me shortly. All right. When I meet others where they are at, it also reminds me of where I came from. It reminds me, and I don't like saying this in meetings. I don't like saying to newcomers, you're reminding me that it doesn't work out there. I will not, if you want to say that, that's great. And it works for you, but for me, it feels a little condescending. It denotes this or that. I'm not even big on sponsee, because it means that somebody appears to be better than the other person. All right. But we use it. But for me, we're just a bunch of closed mouth friends, man. You're probably very good at some things that I'm not good at, and I'm good at some things you're not good at. But that's why we can get together and make it the right way, because we both have experiences on either one of these sides. I think it is in step 1 in the 12 by 12. Here it is. Yeah. Page 22 at the very bottom. In its AA's pioneering time, none but the most desperate cases could swallow and digest this unpalatable truth. Even these last gaspers often had difficulty in realizing how hopeless they actually were, but a few did. And when these laid hold of the AA principles with all the fervor with which the drowning sees life preservers, they almost invariably got well. That is why in the first edition of the book, Alcoholics Anonymous, published when our membership was small, dealt with low bottom cases only. Many less desperate alcoholic tried AA, but did not succeed because they could not make the admission of hopelessness. It is a tremendous satisfaction to record that in the following years, this changed. Alcoholics who still had their health, their families, their jobs, and even 2 cars in the garage began to recognize their alcoholism. As this trend grew, they were joined by young people who were scarcely more than potential alcoholics. They were spared the last 10, 15 years of literal hell the rest of us had gone through. Since step 1 required an admission that our lives become unmanageable, how could people such as these take these steps? It was obviously necessary to raise the bottom the rest of us had hit to the point where it would hit them. And that's what we're talking about here. All right. Because a lot of us haven't experienced, like me, I haven't experienced a DUI. Not saying I shouldn't have gotten one, but I haven't experienced it. Whereas you haven't experienced jaundice like I did. Right. So our consequences were different, but really it's they were a little different. They're going to be the same in the end. But so what do? Well, instead of saying you're required to hit this low before we will help you, we said we can help you here if you'd like us to. You're not required to live on the streets. You're not required to get a DUI. You're not required to be jaundiced or lose your family and everything good in your life in order to have a better life. It's not required.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Sometimes people grab that. They're like, awesome. I don't have to go through that part. I'm very proud of people, young people in the program. Very proud.
It's, I love seeing people in their 20s in the program.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's especially their early 20s. I mean, I think the self-awareness that's happening just between generation to generation, people are being more self-aware of their mental health, of their of addictions and substance abuse issues. I think it's a really positive thing that the stigma, which is still there, is getting easier.
Yeah. And there's something, because I give a lot of grief about mocktails and some other things. But if you have somebody that, would just rather not drink and they want to do a mocktail, but they're not, I mean, go for it, man. Alcohol is just no good for you whatsoever. And there's new stats out. The newest generation, I don't know what we call them anymore. I'm Gen X, so I just figure everybody, is it Gen Z that's now coming in? I don't know.
I think
But
I think they went around the alpha.
yeah, they don't drink as much. These newer generations, is the drinking has gone down by 20% overall. So I mean, people are starting to realize that, so yeah, you're right, because the stigma is becoming a little less and less and less. And that makes it a little bit, growing up having a mental illness was just used against you. Right? I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I got a lot of flack for having that. I don't get as much flack for it now. Now I get, oh, you're strong, it's your superpower, so it's becoming a little bit more understood, which I think is pretty cool. So you're like, Deanna, I have nothing to say on that. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really happy and grateful that that's the case, because I mean, being different was harder in the past.
yeah.
It's not easy anytime, but it was generally a lot harder in the past.
Yeah. I'm glad to see some of these changes going on, because, like even Shannon has said, Shannon's my wife, for anybody that doesn't know, she has said to me before that sometimes she wishes she was an alcoholic just so she could understand what I'm going through. And I get mad at her I'm like, don't you dare say that. I wouldn't wish, well, I don't know. Would I wish alcoholism on people? Not necessarily, but more than anything, I just hope that they find a reason in their life to find a higher power.
You'd wish recovery on people.
Yeah, there you go. But in order for that to happen, what needs to happen? The consequences.
Yeah. Right. You can only be as happy as you have, in contrast to how sad you've been.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Now, meeting others where they are at isn't always just having to do with the newcomer. Tent stepping
No.
is meeting.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's what's been making a huge impact in my life, outside of the rooms,
Hmm.
in all of my affairs, practicing these principles in all my affairs, being a key part of that 12th step.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the thing is like Amber's here, Michelle's here, you're here. I think I've 10 stepped with all three of you in the last 24 hours, you know, and it's all right because because I do my 10 stepping according, well, this person knows a lot about this part, so I'm going to do it with them. Things like Amber pretty much knows everything going on in my life because we're in contact a lot, and she's nosy. I think she's picking up the kid from school, so she's not here. So I'm gonna talk shit.
Yeah,
That ain't gonna fly. Nope.
but yeah,
But
like,
it's cool that people know what's going on in my life. You know. Um, Now we want to meet people where they're at, but we don't want to force readiness either. We don't want to force it upon them. And this is where guidance from a higher power is real big, I think. Um, what I try to usually do is match what the other person is doing. If they're swearing a lot and doing that, then I'm going to match them. If their voice is nice and low and calm, that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to literally go to where they're at. Now, this works even better once you have cleared away the wreckage of your past, right? It is because now I can reach more people because I'm okay with telling them about my past. I'm no longer embarrassed about it. I don't have shame and blame, and now I can use that, right?
yeah, absolutely. It's our experience, strength, and hope, right? If you don't have the experience, what are you going to share?
Yep, you can't transmit something you don't have. So, um, so what when we're meeting people where they're at, this is what it looks like, listening instead of lecturing, right? Because we alcoholics have been preached at, we've been lectured to, all sorts of frothy emotional appeal, and it just doesn't seem to work on us. We might laugh, right? But when you and I come along, or a recovered alcoholic, we're not looking down on them. We're asking, "Hey, is this what's going on?" Because I'm an alcoholic. I don't know if you're an alcoholic or not. You
I
know,
am.
so we're gonna try and figure it out, right? Try. Well, this is kind of where I come from. And is that anything like you? You know, or tell me about yourself. Where'd you go to school? It's a great place to start. Where did you go to high school? It's going to tell you so much. Because number one, you'll know where they went to school. Oh yeah, I know some people. They went over there. Yeah, I didn't really go to high school. My drinking was really out of control by that time, which is true. Um, I went to a little bit of 10th grade. That was about it. Um, um, the other thing is when we make the approach, we're gonna need unconditional love. You want to talk on unconditional love a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason I'm here is because people had
Well,
unconditional
and I
love
know
for
you love
me.
that topic, so
Um, yeah, especially taking advantage of unconditional love because that's where I spent a lot of my life. Um, but yeah, so that's perfect because I have a great story that talks about unconditional love and meeting people where they're at. I, for the longest time, was unwilling to admit that my life had become unmanageable. I knew I was an alcoholic for a long time, or at least I knew that I couldn't quit drinking.
mm,
Um, and, you know, there was a point where I had lost my job. My mom was helping me 100% financially. And I don't know if I would have been able to come to these rooms any other way, but she said, "Hey, I want to go to an AA meeting on this date when I come back from California. Would you be willing to join me?" I was like, "Sure, I'll join you at your meeting, Mom." Um,
how very non-evasive.
exactly,
It
and
was a great
that's
idea.
that was
A while ago,
a
huh?
while ago, 878 days ago.
Fucking A, man. Right
Um,
on.
and if it weren't for that, and after that meeting, she said, "Hey, I really like that, but I don't know if I want to drive all the way up here. Would you be willing to go to a meeting on with me on Zoom tomorrow?" Like, sure. What am I going to be doing? I don't have a job. I'm going to be sitting on my couch wishing I could be drinking.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
so,
Your mom's having
that's
you test out different meetings is what she's doing.
we went to 3 or 4 meetings on Zoom.
Yeah.
She really liked one of them. I really liked another. And then we kind of have gone our separate paths since then. But uh, I don't know if without me being where and my mom is still in recovery today, which is really great. I'm super
Yeah.
proud of her, but I don't know if I would, I wouldn't have been here. I was getting really close to the
Yeah.
jumping, to
Yeah.
not giving a shit about whether I lived or died. So, you know, the the fact that they were able to support me through my addiction, that's the unconditional love, right? And
Mhm.
then showing up to invite me to go to a meeting with her, that's meeting me where I was at.
Mhm. Michelle's asking if your mom's an alcoholic.
She would identify as one, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Amber says, I'm nosy, but not a loudmouth. And I don't pick up
Right.
Isaac for one more hour. He's taking me to Valentine's Day dance tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet. Yeah, that's a really cool story, bro. Um, because and it was done exactly right. There was no pressure. In fact, she approached you. She pulled the Jerry Maguire on you. Help me help you.
hmm.
You just didn't know it. Good job, Tyler's mom. Good job.
Yeah, she's a saint, I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
That's cool, man. Um, for me, because Shannon was my girlfriend when I got sober the first time, and she used to tell me, um, uh, and she's always believed in unconditional love. She's always loved me for exactly who I was. Even when I was a chronic, hopeless, helpless alcoholic, she just still loved me for who I was. And she would tell me, I know the recovered Dion, and I'm going to stay right here until I get him back. Because I know what he's like. And until then, I'm going to love you for who you are. That's it. I'm like, how can you argue with that? I mean, I couldn't even get mad at her about it.
Yeah,
All right.
right. I mean,
But at the same time, it also scared me that somebody in this world loved me that much. It scared the fuck out of me. I will admit it. Because I didn't want to hurt her,
yes,
man. I didn't want to
yeah.
hurt her, but I knew I was also the one person in their life that she loved so much that I was the person that could also make her life better. And I made the decision that that's what I wanted instead. And it worked. Yeah.
I think that's a great decision to make.
Yeah.
That's the one I had to make was, do I want to keep hurting, or do I want to make people's lives
Yeah.
better?
Yeah. What kind of ripple effect do I want to create? Do I want it to be a tsunami or more like the lazy river? And now for me, it's more like the lazy river. We just we go where the water takes us. We relax, take it easy, and people come by and floating by, and we help them out. You know, um, so it's pretty cool stuff. Um, Now, when we're talking about unconditional love, it means when we make the approach that we don't expect anything.
Mm,
Um, you know, I don't know if this person's going to actually get sober, if they're going to follow through, but really having an expectation of getting something from doing something. Um, it needs to be an altruistic movement. I know for me, it was freely given to me, so I need to freely give it away. Who knows, Tyler? I don't know what.
yeah.
I
So,
know. I think she's
uh,
giving us page numbers in the big book
oh, probably.
because she didn't say
Um,
6, 7.
no, that's where my mind went to. But
It might
yeah,
be.
the unconditional love that, I always think about what's been given as opposed to what I give. Um,
Ah, fair. Yeah.
Meeting someone where, unconditional love for the newcomer is, I mean, so we can love people in spite of themselves, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's what that is, I'm gonna go at this, and I'm not gonna I'm gonna take things not from you, though, right? Um, but that's it. That's all. I'm not expecting anything from people that I help.
Mhm.
Uh, I do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, do I feel good after and during? Yeah, absolutely. Is it hard sometimes? Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
But that's where, that's where the unconditional love comes in, is I'm going to do this because I love this person, and because I was given that same love from someone else, right? It's
Mhm.
the only way that I can repay that unconditional love I was given.
Yeah. uh Well, yeah, because when I help somebody else out, the thing is, I've probably already before it even started, I've already gotten something out of this. It's already happened, and it doesn't work out there anymore because my forgetter works really good, right? And I could even be going to AA meetings and doing all these other things, but if I don't see that it still isn't working out there, my brain might start to wander, right? So I'm already getting something out of it. What else do I need besides a good day of sobriety? I mean, you know, it's going to be up to me. Um, but walking away, knowing that you did the best job and that maybe what you said saved somebody's life, I think it's a pretty big deal.
that's a hard, walking away. Like you said, that's one of the hardest parts is when you have to accept where people are at.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's all you can do is just accept that that's where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Um, there's been a few people that I've tried to help that just were not ready to accept the help that I had to offer.
Yeah.
Um, and they know where to find it when they are.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the cool part, right? Is right now, I don't know what's going on in their lives, but if they ever make a choice to contact me, they know that I'm going to be available in here.
Yeah. You stick around this program long enough and people are going to come up to you at conferences and all sorts of places and say, "Hey, you probably don't remember me, but you did this, and this, and it really helped me out that day." And they remember that particular point in time. You might be the only example of the true program that they may see, because AA on television and movies and stuff. AA doesn't work that way. I don't know, but it's for entertainment. So, and it's fictional people, fictional. All right. So they get their first dose of what actual recovery is. And what they kind of think is that we're going to come down. Oh, here comes Jesus. We're going to heal you. Heal this child. We're going to be, but when we come in, we're just like, hey, you know, um, and it gives pretty clear cut directions on how to meet somebody where they're at. But the cool thing is then when you work with somebody and they're grateful, thank you for what you've done. What I don't know what I could ever do to repay you.
Help someone
And
else.
that's always my answer. Because you and I went through it too. I just didn't want to be assumptive. It's your story. Right.
Absolutely.
And I told you the same thing I tell everybody. Pass it on. That's all I ask is that you just pass it to the next person. AA is the ultimate pay it forward. Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a free MLM.
All right.
And you get rich from it. Maybe quick, maybe slow. That's up
Yeah.
to you. We got
Yeah.
to meet you where you're at.
That's right. Which is at the top of the pyramid, right? Because Elmo, yeah, pyramid
Bill
scheme.
W. But
Right
no,
on.
and just to clarify that it's not an MLM, it is a free program of recovery.
Yeah. But it was still funny.
Yeah.
It was. Um, Anything else that you'd like to say on meeting others where they are at?
Yeah, watch out for frustrations. You
Okay.
know, 9 times out of 10 for me, when I'm getting frustrated or angry at someone, it's because I'm not meeting them where they're at.
Mm. Or have an expectation.
Oh, and that's absolutely
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Sponsoring is not easy. Um, but this is what I was taught when I first went in to get my CAC when I became a drug and alcohol counselor. The first thing that they ever taught me was never work harder than the client. And I do the same thing with sponsees. Because if I start telling them what to do, then I'm doing the work for them. And then they start to rely upon me to do the work for them, and we can't have that. Or I want them to do it a certain way. We've got to watch those controlling things. It's easy for an alcoholic to slip into that and become bossy. I know it is for me. Oh, you're on meds. You need to get off those meds. Yeah, no. All right. I'm not gonna give advice, especially if you're married or in a relationship. Nope. I'm gonna stay clear of that. All right. Because
Yeah.
we're just closed mouth friends. We're not, you know,
Like I have a lot of life experience, but that's not what that relationship is about.
exactly.
It's about, hey, I'll help you with this.
Mhm.
And if we become friends and you want to talk to me, afterwards, fine. But for now, this is what I'm helping you with.
Mhm.
And I want the best for everyone, and I'm willing to give my advice and opinion, but I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life.
Yeah. Hmm. Can you just be happy? Just be happy. What's wrong with you? Get
Oh
over
yeah,
it.
it's really easy. Turns out that's all you gotta do.
Yeah, you just gotta do it. We're being facetious over here, by the way, because we're alcoholics. All right.
Yeah, I think that's all I had on that. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. So, um, make sure you let go of those expectations when you're meeting people where they're at. Give them a clean slate. Give them give them permission to heal by utilizing your own story. Um, and listen when they are talking. Turn off whatever is in your mind and listen. They're going to give you answers, or they're going to give you indications to answers that they're looking for. If not, ask questions. You just ask a few questions. But more than anything, let's try not to piss the person off and run them off. Let's not determine their willingness. Let's stay away from that. We're going to plant a seed and we're going to walk away cordially, is what we're going to do. So do not pressure somebody. If they are not ready, they are not ready. You will just be frustrating yourself and you might ruin a chance at a later date. Remember, you might be the only recovery this person ever sees. So let's try and be a good example. Do the best you can each day to the best of your ability. I think that's fair. Right. But there can be a lot of fun. There could be a lot of joy around helping others and watching them get their lives back together. So, yeah. So
Absolutely.
meet those people where they're at. Stop letting them put. If you know somebody needs a sponsor and your guts over there going, you can help. You can help. Just go over there. Hey, do you need a sponsor? Yes, I do. I will sponsor you. Okay. So let's meet once. Let's see if we're a good fit. If not, I will help you find a sponsor. Is that fair? No, they're not going to say no to that because what's going on? I'm the person with the freaking solution. So I need to make the approach. I'm the one that has the courage. I'm the one that's talking to God and doing these other things. So I need to approach them just like I was approached when I came into AA, even though it took them 2 years. But hey, it happened.
No, when you approached, not when you were approached.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, when I approached. So, all right. Got your words of wisdom as we take off, as we leave here?
I think I think we've said everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little preachy today. So,
No, I really like that. Listen. Tell your story. Let them make the decisions.
yeah. That's where the saying think should not be used. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Like to have lots of fun. Appreciate the support. We love you. You know we do. Peace out. And keep on trudging.